Well, it's good to be back in Dubai, and so and to speak with you, those on the front lines, continuing to build, as you've heard, because there's still a long ways to go. As I like to say, we haven't even had breakfast yet. The real impact of the work here is yet to come, despite the not missteps necessarily by us, but by some of those in the industry that have cast shade through their actions and perhaps lack of integrity. But it doesn't stop what's to come. It is inevitable. So I'm here to talk to you about disrupting governments. I spend a lot of my time focused on governance. That may sound a little provocative, though I'll explain why I say that. One of the organizations I started is unicorn.org, or the United Council of Rising Nations. You all know what a unicorn is, but we use that reference when talking about the most successful of startups, bringing their ideas forth to the world, which are those businesses with $1 billion valuation or more as a measurement of success. And so using that name, it's to talk about, call it startup nations. Nations using innovation as a tool for transformation to solve the greatest challenges of our time. Israel obviously has done that in an incredible way. And we're seeing the impact of innovation in countries that embrace it, that embrace disruption, that embrace change rather than holding on to the status quo. And we have the ability to do that. It's to say yes to change and to build a world that can work for everyone. So do we want to flip that side? I actually took a role in the United Nations in a permanent mission on May 1st of this year, OIJ, or the Ibero-America, and in that capacity, work on youth and leadership development in 21 countries, Spain, Portugal, the Dominican Republic, and every country in Central and South America. And so that's what we're here to do, is to take a look at the world and know that we've got tools like we've never had before. As dark as it may seem, and it's always darkest before the dawn, we can implement new systems of innovation to solve the greatest challenges of our time. And I encourage governments wherever willing to do that. Here in the UAE, clearly they're doing an incredible job of attracting the agents of change. And with that, the businesses and the jobs and the economic opportunity that comes from it. In some places it's a little bit harder because they're not able to attract in the same way. It requires courageous leadership, and the future favors the bold, right? You have to say yes to it. Fortune favors the bold. President Bukele in El Salvador has done an incredible job of saying yes to the future, and as a result of that, a country, quite frankly, that much of the world had never heard of because of its size. But how do you signal to noise? How do you get people to pay attention? And that's with courageous and brave action to stand out when there's not that many of us in the world. Those that have done the work, that have been on the front lines, creating the systems, creating the technologies. And how do you get those people to come there? Here in the UAE, here in Dubai, they've done a phenomenal job. You're all here. Well done to the leadership, which leadership creates what, ultimately the people are going to live in. And people are living well here. So I'm, proud to be present, and acknowledge, the great work that comes from great leadership. And hopefully through those actions, encourage other leaders around the world to say yes to change. And so this isn't a negative thing, right? Change is an inevitable thing. The status quo doesn't like it. It fears change because it's comfortable where it is. Times are changing, and we do need new solutions. If you look around, there's a lot of things that can be done better. We can do things differently than we have. And thank you to the past, right? Thank you to everything that got us here. We're here, and with each generation, we have the opportunity to build on that. We stand on the shoulders of giants and everything that got us here. And with each generation, we have the ability to make our mark. And I don't think humanity or civilization has ever been confronted with such an opportunity, such a challenge. So dare to be great. We can keep rolling. And so I think it says it all, say yes. The innovation is there. And there are many people, many here in the room, that will show up. They're eager to find places that are willing to embrace that change. There are so many startups, and feel free to reach out to us and our organization. I build bridges. I'm a connector. I connect the dots, act as a translator. Similarly to my good friend, the ambassador from Barbados here to the UAE, Gabriel Abed, a bridge builder. Because those that are on the front lines of innovation generally don't know how to speak government. And government generally doesn't know how to speak innovation. And that's why we have these, emissaries, these translators, these dot connectors that can sit between to vet innovation and say these are credible organizations that have legitimate, reliable solutions that can positively impact your nation and its future and development and attract the economic development and the high-skilled jobs that come with it and the investment that comes with it. And so you've got people that do that, fortunately blessed with people in government here, which is always a wonderful thing to see. Right? As I like to say, the future is going to happen to us or with us. So be involved. Get involved. Everyone is invited. It's an open time. Everyone has the ability to play their part, in building, again, a world that can ultimately work for everyone. We want to keep rolling, and I think that this technology is at the center of all of it. It's still early, and there's been a lot of missteps, but such is the process of birthing something that's so transformational, something that brings this type of change. It doesn't come easily. There's going to be a lot of resistance and challenge to overcome, which anyone that's been in this industry for a while has undergone, because the systems of trust, the institutions of trust have slowly been eroding, and these new systems are also facing those same trust issues, though inherently this technology is trustworthy. It's the intermediaries, that are operating these things that you have to worry about. I don't really trust anyone that hasn't been through a bear market. My attitude is if you haven't survived a winter north of the wall, you're not ready for me. Because it's easy in a bull market when everything's going up, to be able to stay on the board. The question is, can you stand, the difficulty of a bear market? And so Web3 is at the center of it, right? As I like to say, Web 1, was the idealistic phase. Web 2 was the system, being captured by big tech. Web 3 is the demonopolization of those that grabbed and monopolized that power. And, as an American that did run for president of the United States, we've seen the same thing. Gov 1, was the founding fathers and an incredible idea of giving power to the people. But the system was captured by Gov 2. And Gov 3 is ultimately, in the same way that we're attempting to do with Web 3, the same thing in our systems of governance. I gave a TEDx talk, which you can walk online, where I walked through that in more detail to the extent you're interested. But this is all happening. It's here. Let's embrace it. Let's engage in good civil discourse and conversation about the right ways to do things so that we can do this together. The public sector, the private sector, we ultimately have to be engaged in conversation so that we can make that leap forward into the future, in a unified way. And I'm so grateful to be here back in Dubai. I'll be here for about a week, and so I look forward to catching up with everyone. Thank you for having me.